York.
I can tell you, living in the Midwest, growing up like as a teenager, and loving punk rock, being into punk rock when it was transitioning to hardcore, New York was kicking everybody else's ass. And I could pick between, either California Black Flag and Dead Kennedys, or DC Minor Threat, and then New York Agnostic Front, and even just a little later Cro-Mags, Murphy's Law, New York.
We had our own sound, our own thing going, like the thing was people kind of associated with the DC stuff because of the Bad Brains, because they moved to New York, they were banned from DC, moved to New York, and then kind of made New York their home. So a lot of people think, I mean, we have bands going at the same time. We have bands like Jesse Malin's band, Heart Attack, Urban Ways, Antidote.
Yeah,
The Abuse, Cause for Alarm, this was our own thing.
Ultraviolence, anti-warfare,
Psychos.
I could give you a list.
And that laid the groundwork, but then you get in the later 80s when you had Killing Time, Sick of It All,
Madball.
That was another
Madball,
wave.
even Youth of Today, right? New York hardcore. It was.
Well, more specifically, what was New York hardcore to you when you first started? Like, what did it mean?
It was friends,
family.
It was friends and family.
Yeah. Still is.
Most important is that's what it really was. We all grew up together. We all looked out for each other. We took care of each other.
Me and Roger in the band, 28 years.
Yeah,
that's long. I'm 24.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're doing this.
Well, I was watching this interview where you were talking about New York punk and how it was like fuck this, fuck that, and then when you guys came, it was like a more positive message.
Well, that was us coming in. We've evolved from the New York punk scene. It's obvious, but the hardcore message, when the message was coming, when we were forming our bands, we were the youth of today. We were the young generation. We were tired of the old-fashioned or retarded punk mentality of kill yourself.
I was from that era.
Like that. So we said, the world is a fucked up place. It's and that's what we're here to make it a better place. But we don't want to just destroy all this. We're gonna make a change. We're gonna make a difference. And we brought what we call our attitude to it, our New York edge to it, which became hardcore, which is more of a positive type of thinking, less negative.
You mentioned that you guys were in a band together for 28 years. What kept you going all those years?
Well, I like to say that we're like an old married crowd, and we stayed together for the kids. Literally, we're in there for the kids till date.
We're friends, we're brothers. We know each other's families, and we're always honest. There was never an ego, never religious, never political, never jealousy, no money. Because a lot of these things do come in between bands, whether it's religion or politics or something like that. That's all fine and everything, but, my brothers come first,
Yeah.
My family. We're family. We got a family thing.
We've always had, and then, of course, with all our good friends, too, like my brothers, man, Madball, and it's we've always been very family-oriented, and there's a core of us that are that way, and remain that way till today.
There's no glam or drugs. I mean, sure, there was a little of this and all of that. We're rock bands, but we basically street kids.
Yeah. And our addiction was always hardcore. That's it.
So are there particular moments that stand out to you, like at CBGB's?
Me taking a shit in the bathroom.
Taking a shit in the bathroom at CBGB's?
I love that. I think I'm one of the only person that could do that.
I've done that.
You did?
Of course.
I loved it. Now, CBGB's there's a lot of memories.
There's a lot of,
The one when he cracked his head.
Yeah.
With Big Rob, from the singer from the Psychos, and band I used to play with. Kind of, who was playing when that happened?
Death Before Dishonor.
Death Before Dishonor was playing. This is the original Death Before Dishonor from New York, not the current Death Before Dishonor from Boston. And it flipped Vinnie to go off the stage. And
the stage was about that high.
And he hit the monitor, cracked his head open.
So I could run, get my foot on him, and he could launch me.
Right into a monitor.
Right into the...
Cracked his head right open. Right, we had to play next. He had like 50-something staples in his head. I'm in the hospital with me. Go play a show. So we played this show as a three-piece. Myself, Todd Youth on bass. This is before Victim Pain was recorded. And Dave Jones on drums. That was it. And it was a great show anyway. Probably the best we ever sounded. I don't want to brag about it.
CBGB's was like the center, like in DC, like 930 Club.
Pretty much.
Like the centerpiece.
Absolutely. And like the Rat Skeller was in Boston. Every club, every city had their own underground, true...
Yeah. Gathering place. Church, or whatever you want to call it.
Describe the shows for me. What
Well,
were
they
like?
were smaller. I mean, they were just more family-like kind of, like, you know, more. You knew everybody.
Well, I mean, from the very beginning was like that. Like
Yeah.
the A7 Club, it was. I mean, a good show would be 30 people. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good show. But once CBGB started kicking in and doing matinees, those shows are 300 people. And then there was a time where we were sticking 800 people in CBGBs. And I'm not kidding.
800 at
Imagine that in a
CBGBs?
club that holds about 300 people, packed to the walls, lines. We've done this many, many times.
Yeah.
But the scene of initial beginning of the scene, a core of about 30 people, and everybody was in a band. That was it. That was, and it wouldn't, and that was the shows wouldn't even begin till 1 or 2 in the morning at the A7 Club. They'll be done by 6 or 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
So we'd be just out all night. That was
You
it.
come out feeling like, wow, I've been out all
We
night.
used to sneak my brother Freddie in the kick drum.
And the kicks from
Because it was over.
CBGBs.
Into CBGBs and into the A7 Club when Dave started becoming a pain about underage. We were all underage anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I was only 17 years old, but Freddie was 5 or 6 at that time. Sneaking him in, I set 2
I
or
used
3
to put him
times
on my
in the morning.
shoulders, play guitar. It was awesome.
That's great.
I look at him now, I'm like, wow.
I
put
ruined
him
his
on my
life now.
shoulders.
It's a shame. No idea.
So when you guys took this on the road, when you started touring and stuff, was it still that community vibe? Was it still a family?
Well, each scene had a community vibe. Like when we went to where the anti-heroes in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, we stopped there, for instance. We went to their scene, and we went to their club in Metroplex. I believe it was one of their main type clubs. And we never forget, there was this guy, Joey Asshole, and my roadie kicked his ass. He was called Joey Asshole because he used to intimidate everybody on their scene. So when my guy came down and kicked his ass, by the next time he came, little kids were chasing him, like, get out of here,
What city?
afraid.
Yeah.
What city?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
Now we're going back to 84.
Yeah. And then literally the next tour, we were playing a show, I think, with the Vandals, may have been, in that same city. And we all bought guns in Florida. So we were shooting the passenger trains going by. Just shooting the trains. We had no idea what we were doing. How about shooting the train? Bullets are bouncing, everybody's ducking.
Yeah.
We were out of our
Laying
fucking
pennies
mind.
on the track.
Yeah. Just doing crazy shit, man. We were just,
Well, then it was different.
Uh-huh.
People always tell me, how do you tour without a cell phone? Simple. You pull over, you put the dime, you on the rotary phone, you look up there he is, you hope he's home. And if you get an answer machine, wow, he's got an answer machine.
Are you surprised that your band in particular kind of led the way and has influenced so many bands, so many generations of people?
well, I mean, are we surprised? I don't know. I mean, if you would have told me 25 years ago that we would travel the world and we would do everything we've done, I wouldn't have believed that was going to happen because we really thought it was a personal, small thing to ourselves. But then, as we started going with it, we've always been good to the people. Like, if a band would show up from out of town, didn't have something, didn't have that, we were rolled in an amp, we rolled in the drums.
Yeah.
we were like we backed up every band. Like,
I used to make stickers for every band.
We made flyers. We really were
I used to
part
give
of
them
our
a bunch of
scene.
stickers so they could give them out
Yeah.
to my friends. So, yeah, this way to make friends, Here you go, give out stickers.
We were such a strong part of the scene. And
Yeah.
we knew that.
We really believe.
We really believed in it, and we knew it would come back gracefully.
I still believe.
I remember the band that I was in before I joined with them from my hometown. We played CB's 88,
Blind approach.
and Roger was right there. Obviously, my whole band we're psyched to be playing CB's first of all, and then to have Roger from Agnostic Front just hanging out, watching the show, and afterwards he came up. We're talking, and it's just like that's the thing with hardcore, especially in New York. It's not an ego trip. You know what I mean? It's like it is a community. And when you know that you're talking and working with people that are on the same level and respect it for the same reasons as you do, band, audience, it doesn't matter.
And New York is truly a melting pot.
There was
We had
never no egos either.
Everybody was together. Any religion, and you're one of us, you're one of us. Fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
It ain't about your race, it ain't about your religion. It's us against
There
them.
was no room for any diversity.
Cool. It was a community all the way through, even with Combat and Epitaph, and
Yeah.
just kind of kept that family vibe going on.
As things get bigger, things get a little bit more watered down, but there's always a core group of people I mean, there was a point when the New York hardcore scene reached its heights of about 3,500 people a show. And we would play at the Ritz, sold out, 3,500 people. Whether we may never see that again, but there was times when the New York hardcore scene was only 20 people. In the very early 90s, you know, I remember Mambo playing at Bond Street, 20 people. And really, it got to that low. It went from that low to that high. Yep. But the thing is, it's a ride, and we've always ridden in it because we believed in it. We'll play at 20 people as great as we'll put on a show for 20 people as we'll put on a show for 3,500 people. And then now
I say even higher than that.
Really?
Yeah. You know.
This is just New York. I'm saying this is when I'm saying 3,500 people. This is when the metal crossed over with the hardcore. It was a great time, you know. So it was good. It's just been a good ride, you know. And with so many people, it's hard to find people that really believe the way you believe or as dedicated as you are. It was a wider audience.
That's the thing too. Like you talk about, I'm going to be 40 in like 2 weeks, and I started.
You're older than me.
And I mean, Victim in Pain was 1984, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, I remember being a little fucking 14-year-old kid. Agnostic Front, Victim in Pain. Now I'm 40. Obviously, I joined the band. I'm here to see my friends. But at the same time, it's like, at 40 years old, I still feel the same level of community that you felt when you were a young kid. Because otherwise, you wouldn't be around. You know what I mean? And still, we see younger kids coming in, and you always see people come and go. But I'd say most of the time, if you get into hardcore, you're going to stick around.
Yeah.
Because it becomes your family.
People say, well, what's hardcore? How do you know it was hardcore? And I'm saying, you know, you can't just tell people this is hardcore, this is hardcore. You have to look this way, dress this way, this is how you have to be. It's a feeling, and you know it. You know yourself when you got that feeling. You can look in the mirror, and you can look at yourself and feel that pride, faith, that respect, that honesty about yourself, and you're looking at genuine bands. That's the secret to our longevity, is that we're genuine, we're real. People want to associate to real, genuine stuff. Who wants to be a part of something that's a myth or a joke or not genuine? You know, you belong to something real.
You see bands on MTV, and now like it's so fucking trendy to have a mohawk. When I was a little kid, I had a mohawk. People wanted to murder me on the street. Like grown men would stop and get out of their cars to try to fucking just demolish me.
All around, people didn't understand this.
Yeah, and so that led to a community feeling back then, obviously, but. Now, like, you know, tattoos, I remember, you know, looking at their Victim in Pain, you look at the record in 1984 and you see these guys, you know, tattoo on the neck, tattooed, shaved heads. It's like, holy shit, these motherfuckers are crazy.
That wasn't common. It was either criminals or outlaws.
Exactly. Now,
people
every
across
fucking...
the street when they saw us.
It don't, you know, that's not hardcore, though. You don't have to have two tattoos to be hardcore, and just because you do doesn't make you hardcore. So going back to what I was saying, you know, it's definitely more than just how you look, how you dress.
It's something you belong to, something that's genuine, something not something you read in a book or a flyer. It's not a fad, you know. Nope. You know it, and I can't tell you what it is. You know when you feel like
I know when I walk anywhere in the world and some kid walks past me and I walk past him. It's like you just know.
Yeah, it's happened to me on like. In probably every major city I've ever spent any time in.
You just know.
Every once in a while, one guy will walk by. Some guy will walk by and he'll look at you and you know why you're making eye contact.
Yeah.
I was in Greece on my honeymoon with my wife, some people coming up to me. Yeah. I was just literally on a baby moon with my wife in Mexico. And I'm in the pool with my wife, and like there was guys that had bets on whether I was Roger from Agnostic Front or not. I asked the guy, well, did you bet on me or no? He goes, yeah, I did. I goes, go tell your friends that it's me.
Should have collected the loot.
You know? Got a cut.
So I mean, I got it around in my damn chest.
Yeah.
And who the hell wants to go around like impersonating that? But I do know one guy that did.
No.
Wow. We were just talking about it, a friend of mine. Phil did for a while.
You were gonna say something, Vinnie?
I don't know. There's just I'm saying I was in Rome by the Colosseum and I was just hanging out, and I hear, "Hey, Vinnie," and God was calling me, and I see a guy in a Roman gladiator outfit. I was like, "Yo, Stigma, what's up?" Right? And it was like he does pitches.
You got a picture with him?
It was my friend.
So you got to sit in the Coliseum, though.
Yeah, got to sit in the Coliseum and everything. So I tell my friends, my other band, the Stigma band, you're full of shit. You know me, I'm a windbag too, you know? So I said, no way, I'm for real. So we went to the Coliseum, and I'm looking, and sure enough, there he comes.
For the
I'll
second time.
never did I believe you from now on. It was cool.
So you mentioned MTV, and when you guys look at modern bands and you look at the way the music industry has developed over the 20-something years that Agnostic Front has been a band, how does it make you feel looking back at what you guys have went through?
Well, you know what? I mean, that's a you know, this is the way the industry works, the music industry. They'll find a band and they'll break the band, and they'll throw 30 or 40 bands like it right behind it, and if you notice, all these bands are like one-hit wonders. There's no more like the days of, like, for instance, like Led Zeppelin, when there were decades of followers and stuff. These bands are in it for a year if you're lucky, and then the next year they're yesterday's news.
Yeah, we got the Jonas Brothers. We don't need nobody.
What we do is so underground, so real that people always follow us. I'd rather have that underground feeling than that one-hit wonder, you know?
The goal ain't to get on MTV, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like for a lot of these kids, that is. They think that's like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of being in a band, so I can get my ass on MTV or whatever. I'm not going to knock MTV because if at any time, you know, any one of the bands that we're friends with or are in get a chance to be on MTV and get to be put out there, why not? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
no problem.
I've always said that too. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that, but it's like what Roger said. Like if you think of like Nirvana, right? Like that whole start of the grunge. Nirvana was a grassroots band, but you couldn't tell at one point between Nirvana, between Stone Temple Pilots, between all of a sudden it's just like grunge.
Yeah.
And you had like hair metal bands all of a sudden wearing flannels and shit, and it's
They
like
were grunge.
yeah, and it's like it totally watered down and diluted, and that's what the industry's bad with.
Or when punk broke, they did the same thing. But at the same time, it's not these bands' fault. Like it's not Green Day's fault. It's not Rancid's fault that you know their success, and they're great. They're genuine bands.
Exactly.
And they're real with their audience. They're genuine to their audience, and that's what's cool about it. And if we could spread our message by popularity, I'd rather listen to any day to Agnostic Front, Rancid, Green Day, Madball on the radio or MTV and Hate. I'd rather listen to that any day than half the shit is being played. So I say, and the message is really good, positive message. So I'm for it, you know. So I'm not against it.
Nope.
But our music was our goal was never to be a band for that purpose. It was, you know, it was friendship first, band secondly, and our message was important for those. We always talk to those who are being oppressed and getting over oppression somehow. You know how many people have come up to me and say, Roger, if it wasn't for you or for this album, I would have never got through high school. I would have never got through this, never got through that. I never went to high school. I only went to 8th grade. I quit in 8th grade. I joined Agnostic Front. I got nothing like that. I got nothing more but Agnostic Front. My high school diploma, my college diploma was called Victim in Pain. And that's the way it goes. But I'm really glad that my message has helped others. And I think that is going to be forever and ever. I think 100 years from now, someone will put Victim in Pain on and feel as the way I felt. The lyrics will mean to them exactly what they mean to me, and it'll be as current to them 100 years from now as it was to me 25 years ago, as it is to a kid today that will buy a record today. He'll feel that way. He'll feel the honesty, and he'll feel that it's genuine, and it's just reality.
He was 17 years old, Roger, when he joined the Agnostic Front.
Yep, that was just 3 years ago.
And this is the 25th anniversary of Victim in Pain. And you guys are doing the thing in Brooklyn on the 26th of February, right?
Correct. That's sold out. February 27th is a new day as of Monday.
Oh, okay. The 27th. And this is the original lineup from
Absolutely.
84.
The original line from 84, myself, Vinnie, Rob Kabula on bass, and Dave Jones on drums.
It is Dave?
Dave Jones. And then we're going to have the original lineup of Victim in Pain minus Rabies. Rabies
Well, he passed
away.
So.
But we'll have Adam Mucha, original bass player. So the same three of us with Dave Jones on drums. So it's original as you get, as 84 as you get. And the bands supporting us, all original bands. I mean, Antidote, Urban Waste.
Oh wow.
Ultraviolence.
Sexual Suicide. So it's a retro show, you know. It's like a vintage show, and
it's going to be like it was back then.
For the first time, you know what? I'm really happy to say this. For the first time, the Village Voice did a really big article on us, a whole page, like centerfold, like kind of deal, and they said our album Victim in Pain is as influential and as important as the Clash's first album was to a lot of people, because it was a change of a decade and a voice for the. It was really great to hear that, because like, I mean, it's a different level, like when you think about it, but shit, it's as important, for them to say that, this is a very essential, important record for hardcore. Period.
You're talking about New York Village Voice, which is a pretty important publication within the community in New York City, which is known worldwide. You talk about Agnostic Front, which is like, I mean, at this point, 25 years, right? Which I think is the technical classic time period, right? 25 years, is that what cars are? That's what, I mean, it's as important in New York as probably anything else that's come out of there.
Yeah, and I was really happy to see that.
That's
felt really good.
That sounds good.
Because Clash is one of my favorite bands, so somebody to put me alongside that record to record to put us alongside like that, I think it's pretty cool.